live? Okay, it seems we are live. Let me just check if, because I see this was on private. Because I see this was okay, we are live. Okay, what's up everybody? The day after the Fed announcement. Let me just pull up the fear and greed index here. This is practically the only bullish thing that we can find. I actually prefer the other one. That alternative me. Here we go. So coin market cap is at 34. The fear and greed here is also on. Not yet at panic. Let's go to max it out here. One here. Let's see the last time we were at 23. What's the 17th of October? September. So somewhere here, right at the bottom. So these very, very fearful moments, that actually causes bottoms to form. We're not there just yet. But, I mean, a few hours ago, we went as low as, that's about 108,000, right? We do not want to start closing candles below these levels. Luckily we took out these previous highs back here, right? So, but overall, this daily trend, this is a downtrend on the daily. Lower highs, lower lows, right? So technically a downtrend. The weekly still got, we have a lower low here, but oh, it went higher here. So the trend is still up, higher lows. Now, once again, just I said this yesterday as well, this 103 area has to hold, but I mean, it looks terribly weak. So the Fed, like we said, it doesn't like to surprise the market. So all of these rate cuts are pretty much priced into the chart. We do see tech rallying strongly, but some would say that it's the AI bubble. But pretty much they're backed with federal funds. I mean, because this is pretty much an arms race, right? If they can't let down, the US can't let down and let China take over. So, you know, if there's going to be an issue, the government will support some of these companies. The market has not opened, but I see there is some weakness here on the. So the market is open on the S&P. Let's check out the daily. Gapped up. It's probably going to fill this gap here. Let's quickly just finish Bitcoin here. Yeah, wanted it to hold here yesterday, but it got rejected again. Now, I mean, this is probably gonna go back to the bottom of this range, all the way back to 103, fullest liquidation wick here that we had on everything else. And if we start closing candles below this, we can pretty much confirm that this is now the bear market. And this complacency bounce was absolutely quite concerning, because it never closed above the 50%. It just got rejected at 50%. So yeah, the weakness is palpable here, and BTC just has to do something. You know, it's lagging everything else. The one thing it's not lagging, which is quite interesting, is the home builders ETF. This has had its complacency bounce. We are at the end of the 18.6-year property cycle, right? And this, if you go to the weekly, this is a massive M forming here. So obviously these guys aren't making money now, and it's getting rejected again here. So BTC, I mean, it really honestly just has to go here. So getting back to all of these rate cuts are pretty much priced in, but Powell's speech was quite hawkish, except for the fact that he said that quantitative tightening or quantitative easing or quantitative tightening would stop. Let's just ask Rock here if he said anything about quantitative easing. Did Powell say any quantitative easing starting or just ending QT? No, Jerome did not say anything about starting quantitative easing. He explicitly starts ending quantitative tightening. I mean, we've pretty much known that this is going to be happening. And he's kind of scared and rugged us in the way that he said that the rate cut in December is not 100% guaranteed, right? We actually looked at this yesterday. That we will probably, so in 41 days in December, so it's at 68% here. I wonder what it was yesterday. 1 day ago, 1 week ago. It was almost, so it did come down significantly after Powell spoke here. So, but still, the market thinks that they're calling his bluff. They still think he's going to cut rates in December. Pretty much 2 rate cuts has kind of been accepted or priced into the market now. And, you know, you had to see, like, not a 2.5 basis point, but at least a 50 or 1% rate cut to see a rally out of Bitcoin here, right? Everybody was expecting a 25 basis point cut, and that's the thing. It's the opposite in the bear market, right? Eventually, bad news doesn't send the chart down anymore because everybody is expecting bad news, and at the highs, the good news doesn't turn the market around. So you need like super good news or unexpectedly good news to come out for it to do anything here. So, but if we do have that last rally, you know, you're looking at this 155 area, that blow off top, you know. Gold has had its blow off top already. This could easily have topped here. And this is just distributing here. This massive blow off top. Everybody is standing in lines to buy gold. Now I see the same characters again saying that the top can't be in. So someone, for example, like Da Vinci Jeremy, I mean, he was bearish during the previous consolidation that we had here. He was calling for the highs to be in here. And he was wrong. Now he's saying, you know, this can't be the top because people, everybody is sad. But I mean, it's been a brutal market because the altcoins hasn't performed at all. Coinbase is a good indication of, you know, of crypto pretty much. And I mean, nothing bearish here just yet. If you lose that level and that level, yeah, things have changed. But I mean, it's just moving sideways or distributing or just consolidating there. Dogecoin, the weekly, we don't want this candle to be consumed like this. You know, it's, you see it's covering the whole previous candle like that and losing all of the structure that it's held previously or the range that it's held there. Now, this is the weekly. It's good to zoom out on these things. Let's just see what the indicators are telling us. These things aren't oversold or in buying areas at all just yet. Interestingly enough, the dollar is quite strong here from the Fed announcement yesterday. So putting a lot of pressure on risk assets. There's no divergences yet as we haven't broken out yet. We will reassess this as soon as we can close candles above there. But this looks healthy, although the indicators are already a little bit oversold here, so maybe getting a pullback. Let's actually look at the Great British Pound. Yeah, so the dollar breaking out against the pound here. You know, if you start closing candles there, it's time to go back into your native. And this is even a better W down here. So the dollar is showing some real strength, some nice bullish divergences fire here. This could be the macro low here. And you visit these things up here. Let's look at the euro quickly. It looks a lot like the dollar. I'm not a fan of the V bottom here, but look how much time it's spent down here on the weekly. Maybe another pullback and then we go into price discovery here. So the dollar, once again, like we said the other day, it's the absolute counter trade right now, like the uncrowded trade. Everybody is crowded in risk assets, whereas the dollar, it seems strong here. Like this was the macro bottom the previous time. This could be it here now. Let's put BTC up on here. Just see when the dollar bottoms, BTC tops. It lags a little bit. BTC could be bottoming here, or the dollar could be bottoming here and BTC could be topping here. I accidentally removed that fully again. Yeah, this is 2017. So it kind of lags, like the dollar bottoms first and then BTC peaks. Or BTC peaks first and then the dollar bottoms. So that's the macro bottom there for in 2017, 2018, and that was the top in BTC in 2017. Let's look at some of these. Yeah, I mean, the indicators look great, right? Very, very bullish down here. It's only now at the halfway point. But there are some, let's put up the divergences. Let's see if there are some divergences firing here. None really firing at the top, but look how strong it is at the bottom here. Let's actually overlay the Dixie on this to see if there's any correlation between the S&P and the dollar index. So, dollar bottomed here. The stock market had months of up still. So the dollar peaking, and that is at the exact same time as the S&P bottoms. So it just shows you, risk assets does not like it when the dollar shows its strength. it's pretty much time to take profits. So this was a macro bottom there in 2021, the most recent one. And I mean, it took months before it really rolled over. But once again, you know, everything else tops before the S&P tops. BTC tops before the S&P tops. We did look at that yesterday. Let me just show you guys. So the previous top here for BTC, and then the macro top a few months later. This was COVID. Macro top here in 2017. A few months later, the S&P tops. Goes a little bit higher, but then finishes at the same time that BTC finishes. The COVID lows was at the exact same time. So there is correlation here, right? And the dollar is nothing to be slept on. Now let's look at the dollar's valuation in crypto, which is USDT. This massive downtrend, it's been resistance for a long time. Top to that top. There is technically a line to be pulled there, but we're not getting an angle there. But this angle has been respected many times. Every time it gets to the top, it gets rejected. Gets to the top, it gets rejected. Gets to the top, closes above, gets rejected. And now, you know, it's actually trying to break out here. This massive spike up was the liquidation event, as everybody got Tether as they got liquidated. There was some divergences there that played out, but it just came right back down. Let's see what some of these indicators are telling us. I see no divergences on these things. You know, there could be some follow through here. And if you start breaking here and retesting the downtrend, you do have market structure here. You know, there's a lot of bottoms here that's been defended, right? Look at these. And all of them by themselves are also really, really good. You know, there's double bottoms here, a double bottom in the macro one. There's small double bottoms here, small double bottoms here. So the structure is absolutely perfect. And it's broken a few W's already. It's above that W. It's above that W. Now there are macro W's here as well. You know, there's a macro one here. There's a larger one here. These are the breakout levels that I'm marking, right? So we'll see if we break those. But then this is gonna, I don't know. Yeah, they're obviously printing a lot of Tether constantly, you know. So, and just to show the macro tops here. So this was a macro bottom for BTC, and it happens at the peak. It's kind of interesting that it has a divergence as that. Let's just re-add that, because I just noticed this. Lower high on USDT, but the lower low on BTC. Then we go to the current time, and we see a lower low here, higher low there. But this could be more Tether is printed. Wait, no, I'm wrong. Then another divergence here. Higher low on USDT and a lower low. higher low on USDT and a higher high, excuse me, on BTC. So there's a divergence. We see that same divergence playing out at the bottom, where USDT makes a lower low, but price makes a USDT makes a higher high, but the price makes a lower high, a lower low. I minced my words there a little bit, but you pretty much get the idea. Do we see anything else? And they're constantly printing more and more tether. I know as more dollar reserves are put into the institution. Let's see here, so we can move this up a little bit. Macro low here on BTC, and once again a slight high here on tether. Low on tether, high on BTC. Put on the log scale. It gets less and less clear as you have massive stablecoin adoption, right? Because this is growing, the supply is growing with the adoption of crypto itself. A stablecoins is a really good narrative currently. It's most likely going to be the CBDCs. So yeah, this is not great for your altcoin bags if this is a macro bottom here. I don't know, how high can we go? There's not a massive range on this, but you would think this makes new all-time highs in the next year, as if the top is in, if crypto bottoms out, right? This is going to be aggressive, like massive moves like these. This is the last bottom. So this is going to send extremely hard, right, to all new all-time highs. Maybe even 13% in the next year. Let's try and measure this out. 2020, it's even still too far because this needs to bottom by the end of 2026. Maybe early 2026, like something like this. But this is the weekly scale. There's a lot of time left for this to do this. There we go. Something like this when we expect the next BTC top to come in. And then we'll have our next bull market. That's, the dollar is bullish, USDT looks bullish, just needs some work. Yes, opening, but we do expect this to continue higher for a little bit longer if the altcoin and the crypto cycle is over. Now, once again, the altcoins can pretty much continue rising against BTC, but that would just be them outperforming or underperforming BTC to the downside. So going down less than all of the others. I mean, if you look at these things, right, this is not where value for these things are at, right? It doesn't matter if you're looking at BTC or Solana. You know, this is where value is at. You know, we've slightly just peaked above all-time highs. But you know, someone chasing this up here, this is the nosebleed section. This is where you will get wrecked. And there is a lot of bearish structure on this chart. Lower high, and that is another lower high. And now recently we've made more lower highs. You know, this is the definition of a downtrend. It needs to start defending some, you know, some levels if it wants to go higher. Make higher lows and then go higher. But this is a downtrend on the weekly scale. Extremely disappointing because we always look at these things, you know, do their extensions to the highs, and this hasn't done anything. You know, we would be disappointed if it only did 7K in the cycle. If we looked at these things at the bottom here. And ETH did so well, it bottomed before BTC did, and didn't run new lows during the FTX liquidation event. I mean, this looks like a top for gold. Maybe you get another complacency and then roll over. Let's see here if we can see correlation between the S&P and gold. So divergence there, and then it makes its higher high on the daily. So let's go to 2021. Should look at this on the weekly. So macro, yeah, they do bottom together. Once again, gold bottoms before the S&P does. This was 2016. 2019, once again, this was the COVID dump year. Both of them finding their lows at the same time. Should look at highs. You know, gold topped 1,800 in 2011, but the S&P just continued higher. There's obviously, yeah, this was after the 2008 crash, and the market just continued higher from there, where gold topped and went into a 10-year bear market, really only breaking out in, what was that, what year was this? October of 2023. Yeah, absolutely brutal performance from the altcoins. Let's look at Solana quickly. Major lag. Oh, there it goes now. Solana. Right, the same market structure as ETH, right? Just peaked its top above the all-time high, then gets rejected. Either way, if you're chasing Solana here, it's incredibly late, right? This is where value is at. Right, it gave you a chance in April, but this is where you should be interested. I mean, this can honestly, there's nothing here. This is an inefficiency in the market, right? And during the bear market, this can come all the way down back to $27, because there's absolutely nothing here. If this trend continues and the altcoins don't perform at all. Total market cap, this is everything including BTC. Never really even got to the 61.8, 1.618, the golden ratio extension. Either way, not where value is at for crypto. Like, value is down here if that was the top, which it does look like. This looks terrible. That liquidation event, that this could have been the complacency bounce now. You know, if this M would be confirmed if we start closing below here, and it's so close. But that's just the candlestick chart, so it has to do shit. It has to go. It has to get out of this area, because that would be the market structure, and all we then need then is for some divergences to show up here. And look at that, 9 confirmed divergences at the top there. So crypto is extremely heavy. Yeah, and I can short this here. I can short a macro short here if this closes here. Let me put this up quickly. I mean, we can even do a measured move quickly. A 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So that's what my short would look like. And this can easily go all the way down here at 1.2 trillion. So total 2. Once again, only one has been confirmed yet. I mean, this is now, you know, literally just breaking here, breaking the market. It's right at support now, if we look at it on the line chart. Total 2 is the total market cap excluding Bitcoin and stablecoins. It's actually much clearer on the line chart because this wick complicates things. And this is going to fill this entire wick. I honestly really hope I am wrong. Once again, the same as BTC and or ETH and Solana, just literally pierced the highs and got rejected. Made new all-time highs and got rejected. Total 3, total market cap excluding BTC, ETH and stablecoins. Ugly, this wick just destroyed all of this market structure that was there, that was defending the price. And all of these people's orders got filled, right? So all of this liquidity has been taken out of the market. These people that bought here or got their orders full, they're pretty much distributing here. What's the line chart telling us? Right, this will be your change of trend if it closes below 1.01 trillion. Same thing happened, just peaked above the all-time highs and got rejected. Once again, value for all of this these shit coins are not up there, right? If this is the macro top, these things are going to come back here. It's going to take a year. So I wish I had more bullish things, but I mean. But the question is, well, the best thing you can hope for while BTC tries to sort it out is for your favorite altcoins just to move sideways, right? Got rejected at the bottom of this. I mean, this is probably the strongest line on the PLS chart, and we got rejected there. I would have timed that top perfectly, but I got trapped. Yeah, if this is a bear market for altcoins, we could just hope for for this to move sideways in this range for a whole year. That's the best case scenario. Otherwise, if you start losing these lows, we have no idea how low these things are going to go. But that would be a great opportunity to buy this. Like if it just looks like that by the end of 2026, that would be glorious. I mean, if there's going to be money injected into this chart, it should be to defend these lows, not to pump this market. Because if you're going to pump it at the end, it's going to do the exact same thing that the macro or the old X chart did. I don't even think this thing just still prints anymore. Yeah, it doesn't work anymore. So the ETH chart is still here. I mean, that looks absolutely shocking, hey? But this is the X and the ETH ratio. You need a log scale. I wonder if this goes all the way back to where it started. No, it didn't. And this looks terrible, and this is a breakdown here again. We can just hope that X holds this ratio down here. put off the log chart while we go over the core coins. I would have inverted scale. Take log off. And once again, I mean, wow, it has to defend these, right? Like if it does that, right, because we haven't really performed, right? If it can hold that throughout the bear market, you know, that would be great. But we don't want to see these lows start breaking. Ink. Oh, this is breaking down here. Hope that 63 cents holds. You know, I mean, this is ugly, because this can easily create a bearish engulfing candle. PLSX also engulfing that candle. I mean, these range lows have to hold. There's lots of support levels here. So all of those levels can still hold. I mean, there's even some levels here that can still hold. I mean, let's see what you guys are saying. Her volume is really low. I have mine at 80 and it's still kind of low. I'm speaking quietly. Volume. Pump from pump tires took a healthy correction. A good buy right now. And it's funny. I saw Crypto Coffee streaming yesterday, and I think he had hundreds of watchers because he was bullish. That is actually shocking, because the market just wants the opposite of what is actually going on. They want everybody to be bullish. And I know, listening to someone like me say that this doesn't look good, nothing looks great here, I just can't find anything positive, is not what retailers want to hear. They want their egos stroked, you know, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you the way it is. Just like I have been the whole cycle saying that this thing continues, it continues, there's still time left. You said pump from pump tires. Let me see if I can up the volume here. Yeah, increase the mic volume on OBS. I do have a filter. Oh yeah, I need to put a filter on this. Gain. Let's put it up a little bit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That should be better now. Let me know. Hopefully it wasn't too quiet. I screwed up the whole stream. I screwed up my stream yesterday because I edited the first part out. And it created a new video instead of keeping the old stream. So that's kind of a... oh, meh. Powell first entered Q2 may be coming into view at the NAB conference, citing reverse market, but clarified neutral policy ahead. Bottom line, just QE ending a dovish pivot, which is bullish, adding 40 billion liquidity versus draining it. Bullish for assets. BTC outposts, but no QE money printing yet. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, we were just losing these levels in real time. The only bullish thing here is, you know, maybe we make a new low. Oof, yeah, we can't afford that. We're not doing much different than we've done in previous corrections. We've just retested previous breakout levels. So we'll see what happens at the 108 area if we continue losing these levels. You know, I'd be pretty confident to say that the trend now has changed and we're in a bear market or a downtrend. You know. But if the S&P starts showing bearishness here, I mean, this is the second day of down candles here. If tomorrow is another down candle, it's going to be an extended down for a little bit. Yeah, if it can hold these levels, you know, that's good for the S&P. You said pump. I'll quickly look at pump for you. This is a very heavy stable coin, or a very heavy meme coin, I would say. Is it a good buy now? You know, this is not a good buy. You would need for this to at least, I mean, this looks extremely ugly. And it just doesn't really, unless it gets some fundamental value. I don't, you know, a meme coin with fundamental value. You know. Just incredibly heavy. It's just rolling over here again. You know, the indicators never reset on these things for some reason. You know, look how high this is. This just fell below the midline on the RSI. You know, this can come very far down. I consume much of this candle here. I think look how massive this candle is. Because I mean, this needs to do this for me to be bullish. Right, goes down, tries to recover, then makes a lower low, and then makes a W. So it can create some divergences between these levels. You know, that's strength. You know, this can continue slaughtering you here. Not even the RSI on the daily has oversold yet. You see, it made some divergences here. And then ran up. Yeah, if you're bag holding these altcoins, the RH ecosystem, it's not great, right? And I soon have to close this position before I start taking losses. I'm going to close this at break even, which is practically now. I should be closing this position here. It's so high. Have we lost this uptrend? We have. That's not great, eh? Just holding on to it there on price action, but this is just an indication of what might happen, right, as you start losing these levels. Is this an inverted head and shoulders? Shoulder, head, shoulder. Lose the neckline. Oof. Yeah. Because I don't know how the altcoins doesn't do another 80% if this is in fact a bear market. Let's look at some of these top trending coins on BTC right now. What is the crypto bubble showing? Now, I know I'm quite harsh on, but this is what the market looks like. You know, these top coins are down 50%. This is plasma. Right, backed by the Tether company, which is massive. Aster, backed by CZ, down massively. Let's quickly see what the Aster price is doing. Looks tough, eh? Yeah, breaking down here. You know, if this loses this, it's going to come back all the way back to the start. So it's not just us, you know, it's everything out there is absolutely wrecked. This is ugly, hey? Look at ETH losing these levels now. Okay, it's been a while, and there's not a lot of people here, which is to be expected. I haven't been as active as I want to be, and I'm bearish on my streams, so I'm not going to get engagement. But that's fine. I'm going to be a bit more active from now on. It's been about an hour already. So if there's no more questions, no more requests, let me see if anybody's saying something. I see Hansi W on the PLS chart. You know, the W is only confirmed once it breaks out. I had maxed out and heard nothing. Oh, fuck, man. The last time US Fed had consecutive rate cuts was October 2019. Food for thought. I'll just show you the rate cuts and recession chart. Yeah, here we go. Wait, let me put it up there. There we go. So this is the federal effective funds rate, right? The thing that's rising here. Man, it was as high as 20% in the 1980s, eh? And the shaded areas indicate US recessions. So every time you get steep rate cuts, we have a recession, right? This was the 1990s. Rate cut started recession. What was this? This was 2000 rate cuts recession, right? And the recession like kind of ends and rate cuts continue. And then in 2006, yeah, as high as 5%, rates started cutting and we had a recession. $20.25 max. Let's max it out. This was 2008, right? Massive bull run as rates were increasing and they started cutting rates and boom, massive recession. This was the 2008 financial crisis. So I think from your comment you're saying that, you know, rate cuts are bullish. It's the opposite. Rate cuts are bearish. I'll show you another video that I want you guys to go look at. Tucker Carlson, Bank of Japan. How to create money.
You're one of the best known economists in the world, most significant, but you have a story that I think that I didn't know. And let me just summarize what I understand of it, and then I'm just going to turn it over to you to tell the whole story. So it's
so this is incredibly insightful, and I would implore you guys to go watch this. I made some tweets about it, and I always make like valuable content, and never really gets engagement, but he says the exact same thing. This is the only guy that could write about what happened in Japan, and he was spot on with what happened there. So yeah, do go watch this, and you will see that I'm not talking crap. In fact, and pretty much the most astounding thing he said is that cutting rates are not stimulatory. It is the exact opposite. Okay, higher rates are in fact stimulatory. So yeah, just look into it. But I mean, yeah. So this shows us, and in the past few years, only now Somya has pivoted on this view. But we were this chart was trending back then, because we knew that when rate cuts start, that it's not bullish. It is the end of the cycle. And then you can go, I have the book right here next to me. I'm still working through it because it's an old book by Edgar Lawrence Smith, Tides in the Affairs of Men. It's all about the cycles. And this also kept me, and there's all types of different cycles, but the 6th year is a bearish year. And we're heading right into it now. Not only that, that's the 4-year cycle, the halvening cycle. If you disregard the 4-year cycle, the 4-year cycle has been around for a very long time, for hundreds of years. The 18.6-year property cycle. We have the Benner cycle showing, and I measured it out in 3 streams ago, where it showed perfectly that. Yeah, I'll not go over it again. You can go watch my previous live streams. Anyway, I'm going to call it there. I'll